Thanks, everybody, for being here. We just finished our match day -2 training out on the field. We usually train at 2 every day, but we got a flight to take, so we had a training session this morning. The vibes are great, really positive attitudes from everybody, working on some last-minute details for Duke. Everyone's eating lunch right now, about to get on the bus, and we're just ready to roll. We're very, very excited to have a great matchup against Duke, who is one of the best teams in the country, as everybody knows, but I believe we are too, so I think that's going to be a great matchup.
Good. After last playoff win against Maine, how confident does the team feel now going on to the second round against Duke?
The team's very confident. You know, they put in the work all year long. I've been saying this from the beginning, but they've been building their championship habits since last January as a team, and it's not like they just have to turn it on now. They've been doing it all season long, like I said, since last January. So, yes, of course, they need to up their game with every match, and our goal has always been to be better with every match and how we can take care of little more details every game, and that's what they're ready to do. So confidence is really high.
Coach, I wanted to ask, you guys are in the second round of the NCAA tournament, men's going to the NCAA tournament as well. What does it say about the state of soccer here at UCF and how the programs are able to kind of elevate themselves and get to where they're at right now?
We've always had really lofty goals here at UCF. Our goal is to win championships, and awesome to see that our men's program did that the other day. But that's always been a goal of ours. You know, our two programs actually work really closely side by side. I've got a great relationship with Scott Calabrese. He was actually an assistant to my pro team when we won a championship together. So us winning championships goes way back when he was a coach and I was his player. So, it says a lot about UCF and the support that we get from Terry and all of our support staff. But it's also about recruiting and bringing in competitive student athletes who want to win. And ultimately, they also want to play professional after being here. And I think that's also we provide that environment as well.
Coach, considering that history with Coach Calabrese, what has it meant to you after nine seasons with him here that both of you are going to the NCAA tournament together in the same season for the first time?
Yes, like I mentioned, Scott Calabrese and I go way back. Actually, Tim and Scott actually even coached a U18 boys team back in the day together. So it's just really nice because, like I said, our teams collaborate a lot. We collaborate and pick each other's brains about tactics and how to go about different things with our program. So it's really nice when you work side by side with another program, and for us, it's our men's soccer program, and to collaborate and have lofty goals together. I think it's really cool to have that support and that collaboration.
How do you hope having had a home game that went over Maine helps settle the nerves a little bit as you move on in this tournament?
Yeah, we actually were a little nervy, I think, against Maine, having that home game. And, as seeding goes, you're supposed to win that game. And we all know how sports goes. No one's supposed to win any game. You just never know, especially at NCAA tournament time. So I think we were a little nervy, but I don't have a feeling that that's going to be the case against Duke, just because, we're the underdogs in that game. And I think that they like to play with a little chip on their shoulder, and I think that kind of does away with the nerves when you're the underdog.
Coach, what do you see in this team that shows that they can go all the way?
This team, I've always said it, so I'm really saying the same thing that I've always said, but they're a resilient, gritty group that love to play together. They have a lot of respect for one another, and they're ready to celebrate any teammate at any moment. So I think when you look at the team, so many players are capable of doing big things at any moment, and I think that's why we have a team that can go all the way.
Was there a certain point in the season where they showed you that they can fight any adversity that comes their way?
I mentioned this actually in my broadcast call I got the same question, and I was kind of thinking back, and I think one period of time during our season where we really, was a momentum shift. We lost against Arizona. We were on the road, and we were going to have to turn it around against Arizona State. At the time was, a top 50 RPI win, on the road, heat, all these things going against us, and we were able to turn around, get that win, and I think that really made a statement to the players, to each other, saying we could do anything. And I think, out of conference, when we get that LSU win in the last few seconds, when we get that UF win in the last few minutes, I think that also, that belief really grew, from the start and then carried on throughout the season.
From what you've seen from Duke so far, I mean, what are some of the key things that you need to work on to defeat them at their own home stadium?
Duke's a very good team. In scouting them, I think we're really similar as far as really valuing possession, and so they're going to want to be on the ball a lot, and so do we. And so I think you're just going to have two teams that like to play, beautiful football, that want to build out and use their players, build through the thirds, and you're going to have two teams that are going to want that. And so we're going to have to be uncomfortable not having the ball at times, and being comfortable with the structure that we have to be able to defend and get the ball back and then keep it and be composed. So I think we'll see it going back and forth, but we are prepared for that. But we're prepared to have the ball. We want to have the ball. We think we could do that against Duke. The team, like I said, is confident. And just like any other game in soccer, we got to be very detail-oriented on our set plays, because a lot of games come down. If you guys watch the Pride game, we're at extra time and they lose on a set play. So we got to make sure details when it comes to set plays as well.
And also that underdog mentality that you talked on, how far do you think that can take you?
Yeah, I mean, I think, hopefully we have that chip on our shoulder for the rest of the way, and it starts with Duke. But really, it's one game at a time, and we didn't, we made a pact not to talk about any game about Maine, where we go next, what does that look like. We wanted to make sure we only talked about Maine because it's one game at a time, and so now we're just talking about Duke. And but I do believe, telling you guys, not telling the team as much, but if we can get that win against Duke, I do think we're a team that can go all the way.
Coach, Duke has a sophomore goalkeeper of their own there. Just how important is Jan Perez for this one, given the experience that she's been able to get under her belt this season?
Yeah, Genesis has been a key player, as you guys know. She's made a significant impact with our schedule this year and our wins, and she's come up big when she needs to come up big, and she's just going to continue to do that thing. There's nothing really changes, guys. I mean, we have to keep doing the same thing that we've been doing. It's been successful. You're not going to be seeing a huge shift in all of a sudden the way that we play or our mentality. I mean, we are where we are right now because we've been growing this with every game, and so nothing actually changes.
You mentioned the end of the Pride game and how that finished up. How important it is for you guys on the road to maybe be aggressive, or does that change anything? To want to be aggressive early on to try to take advantage and maybe get a couple early goals or something, maybe kind of give yourself a little bit of a cushion.
Yeah, ideally always getting a couple early goals early. I think that's a game plan for any team out there, but that would be ideal. But we will be aggressive, and but that's, like I said, it's nothing different from what we've been doing. We want to have possession. We want to create key quality chances. As soon as that whistle blows when this game starts, we want to put them up on their heels right away. But then we also have to know that there are going to be times when we're not going to have the ball, and we're going to be able to have to defend, and we have to be comfortable with that and believe that we can get the ball back and imprint our style again.
Coach, not to get ahead of ourselves, but Kansas is also going to be in Durham as well, and of course, being a fellow member of the Big 12 conference and having played them last season, did you get a chance to see what they're about? Lexi Watts, of course, is back. What do you see from them?
Obviously, we know a little bit about Kansas because they're in our conference, but honestly, we have not looked at Kansas at all yet. So we're only focused on Duke. We want to make sure that the use of our time is super efficient, and we don't want to overlook Duke.
You've always scheduled non-conference stuff, plus you have the Big 12 slate. Does this Duke team resemble in form any team you've played over this season?
Yeah, so they're a possession, oriented team. I would say, Texas Tech is a team that we actually had to defend a lot in that game. Hopefully we can actually have the ball a little bit more than we did against Texas Tech, but it's a game that we ended up tying. We had to defend a lot, but like I said, I think they're similar to Texas Tech where they value the ball and they have some rotations similar, but Baylor is the same way. We had to go up against a Baylor who likes to be on the ball a lot. So yeah, I think being in the Big 12 is one of the best teams, or one of the best conferences in the country. The best teams in the country are in the Big 12. And so what's so great about being part of the Big 12 is we've literally gone up against the best teams in the country already. So Duke is no different than any Big 12 team.
Yeah, just to expand on that a little bit more. 8 schools made it and all advanced. It just speaks to the strength of the Big 12, and you're battle tested now for Duke.
Yes, and I think that's what's so great when you're part of a conference like Big 12 is you are tested throughout. You know, we've won games, we've tied big games, and that gives the team confidence and belief that we've been with the best already. So there is no difference, you know, with Duke. We know that they're one of the best teams in the country too, but we've gone against the Baylor and, like I said, the Texas Tech, who have similar styles where they like to possess the ball. So it's nothing that we actually haven't really seen before. I will say Duke has some really amazing individual players. You know, they have 3 or 4, you know, youth, like national team players that we're going to really have to keep our eye on, that are real difference makers for them. But at the end of the day, they're human, and they're not robots. So, you know, we just have to be mindful of their key players, but do what we do.
You mentioned starting off early, trying to score early. Same thing happened in Maine. You started off strong, got an early goal, but you still weren't satisfied with the team's play in the first half. What is your mentality or strategy to start off strong and be confident in that first half?
I think the main, even though we scored pretty early on, it was more of like a mentality and nerves, I think. So I really feel like we're in a place against Duke where we're not going to have those nerves. We got that game under our belt. We're not at home. Like I said, it's the underdog chip on our shoulder. Honestly, I know that they're going to have pressure because they want to win and they want to advance and they want to move forward. They want to do everyone proud, but really there should be no pressure, and I'm going to make sure that I relay that to them.
Coach, is there anything that you were able to witness in tape from the main match that maybe you gleaned from it, weren't able to glean until then, and not just after the game that was a particular note?
Not necessarily. After, you know, a lot of times that does happen. You watch film after. I mean, obviously I wasn't as emotional watching the main game, and I think we did a lot better than what I remember when you're sitting on the sideline and you're emotional. So the good thing was we were better than what I remembered sitting on the sideline, and a lot of times that is the case.
You talked on Duke's difference makers, and for somebody who might be tuning into your game against Duke, who are some of your difference makers that you want to just maybe give a shout out to?
Yeah, we have a team full of difference makers, but if I had to guess who Duke would put on their scouting report, it's going to be Liz Warden, because you look and, you know, she's a leading point person, I believe, right? Rahana Reed is scoring some goals for us too, and that duo is a special duo, as you've all seen, you know, this season. Obviously, Nookie, you know, Honoka Hamano is a key player for us too, with, you know, her passing ability and her ability to hold the ball for us and keep the ball under, you know, tight spaces. And then Genesis, which you mentioned already, she's been doing a great job for us in goal. And then, you know, I would say Jada Silvestre has been kind of holding the back four together. But, you know, it's really hard for me to not mention everybody, because you've got a Maria, you know, Treganson, who's second team All Big 12, that was recognized for someone that just does something very simple, but actually makes a really big impact as a defensive center midfielder. And our fullbacks have been doing great. So honestly, it's like really hard to say who are the key. But if anyone wants to look at stats, I guess you're going to see Liz and Rahana up there.
Could you speak more on that duo? They have been battling this whole year for who would be the top goal scorer, and it's just been going back and forth. Could you speak on that duo this season?
Yeah, I don't think that they've talked about trying to outcompete each other. As you saw, you know, Liz fed Rahana, Ro, her nickname, like Ro, the ball in the last game, and it was a very unselfish move from her, an assist. And so, you know, they're really good friends, and I just love how they respect each other so much. They love playing together, and they've just got great vibes together on the field. So hopefully we can see some of that magic against Duke between those two.
Coach, how has Noki been holding up since the main match? By the way, will she be good to go for Duke?
She'll be great to go. She's been training. She had a calf cramp, so to be expected, I guess, at this time of year, and you know, lots of running for her and jumping. So, but she's fine. She's fully recovered.
How do you stave off those sorts of cramps when it comes to mid-game now that you've kind of seen what
Yeah, it's just, nutrition and making sure that we, hydrate enough and we're correctly fueled. And, sometimes it just, there's nothing you can do about it and it's just going to happen. It's just the load over time. But hopefully everyone is taking care of their bodies. We got great support staff that's making sure that they do that. And, it'll be great weather, supposedly. I'm looking ahead in the weather. I'm thankful that we're still in the south and we're not going into too frigid of cold weather. So I think it will be appropriate for us Knights going up there.
Have you been,
Last question.
have you been seeing what you want to see from the team in training between the main match and now? Is there anything else you're looking to see from them before you kick off?
Really, at this time of year, you don't really train a lot. You have to teach a lot from video. You have to teach a lot from the scout, and we do a little bit of work on the field, but you cannot do a lot at training because of the load, and they have to be refreshed from Maine and then fresh for Duke. So there's not a lot. It's very short, sharp, very efficient. We throw them a few ideas of how Duke might build out or how they like to, build from the midfield, but, how we can take advantage of Duke in certain moments of the game or certain phases of the game. But other than that, those are like 2-minute little pops of training, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes in different phases. And that's all the time that we have, not just time, but the load that you want to give the players, because we want to make sure that they're fresh going in for Duke.